12K. That's going to be very, very useful close range. Unlike the DBS, you can loose a lot of shells off fairly quickly.
Ooh. Has got 3 nades in hand. Thinks he's still behind the tree. Ducks out. Imran's position given away now to the back line. The blue zone is pushing in. Blanket closes central, and it is all on GOAT quality to move in. More.
I think GOAT quality has to be first to face here.
He's giving ground.
And the fact that Imran was just allowed to wander around the sidelines is crazy. But again, it's still the speed at which that take took place. Also, one thing that we didn't quite cover is the fact at which that take took place. Also, one thing that we didn't quite cover is the fact that admin ran up with an M79. He was hitting the windows with those smokes fairly quickly and just isolating sightlines that way. It was a very, very cool play. Again, the coordination in this squad is just so unbelievably nice to see.
Imran has been gathering supplies all this time. He has 5 nades, launching 2 of them forwards. It is so oppressive, and when you compare that to what is on side for GOAT quality, which is zip, zilch, nada, they have really got not much to do. As well as that, all the while, the stims have been popping up, ticking up Imran's health bar. He has been healing all this time, and the health advantage is disappearing.
Oh, believe in yourself! Oh no! Believe in yourself, Ron. Same place. Same place. Marked and his bite. Sad to see, very sad to see. Great play from the start there, but for Aki Cyber again.
They were put in the hot seat. The fact that they even went that far in the first place is pretty miraculous. Very well played, but again, I think Imran had all the advantages. All the advantages. And you know what? I think if he doesn't bounce that nade off the wall backwards, it does tag him. It wouldn't have eliminated the fella, but the tag would have given him an idea of where he was playing, and that would have been the key thing. So sad. Such a critical error.
It's unfortunate. He gave a lot of ground as well, rather than holding face, just waiting for his opponent to make that first move. It's really unfortunate there, but you know what? There's one stubborn old GOAT that he came into conflict with, and it just didn't pan out the way he thought it might do. It felt like he was just outthinking himself at every single turn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in that situation, you missed the first S12K shot as well. At that point, you pull out the Groza. You don't play with the S12K because you just spray down. The thing really does tear players up. So, yeah, it's just an unfortunate series of events. We'll put it that way. Because I really do think if that nade went through, oh, it would have been a very different story. Let's go talk to the desk about this one, because I'm sure they've got a whole lot more to say about this than just me and John.
Congratulations, GOAT quality. You were able to clutch it up, but oh man, I have to just agree with what John Allen was saying there towards the end. I felt like Imran just kept questioning himself over and over again throughout that final match.
I mean, that's because of penalty, right? He was just playing the circle and he was staying as silent as possible, of course, playing around with the smokes, which I wasn't a massive fan of the smokes in these final moments of this game, but he was staying hidden. He was trying to make Imran waste his utility because he knows the moment he has no more utility, then it's an even 1v1 fight. So good plays on both sides, a few mistakes on both sides too, but at the end, GOATs are the ones to take home that chicken dinner.
And with what you're saying in regards to the smokes, I personally didn't like him. I thought he was giving him a little bit of cover. How did you feel about it, Neftera?
I'm on the fence about them. I see what you're saying. It did block his own sight lines a lot
He
there.
wasn't seeing it.
But at the same time, I kind of do like it that it was completely just giving Ron no information whatsoever. He made a hard job even harder, and it allowed him some freedom to kind of move around as much as he wanted.
The only reason why I would say I get why he was using smokes is if he was forcing Imran not only to maybe waste utility because he's denying information, making it hard to know where he exactly is at that point, but maybe he's trying to force him in that shotgun range. Maybe that was the game plan, but he also had a shotgun, which at the end didn't really make too much bigger difference. He just hit the shot first and gets the win to wrap it up.
And Max, at one point, Amran actually decided to back up and go to that 2-story building, right? You were wanting him to go upstairs as well and maybe start scouting a little bit?
I just wanted him to go upstairs, exactly as you said, to scout, get information, but not to jump off the roof and like do whatever he wants, because at that point you become very predictable. If you have an M4, I think you had a Groza maybe on the receiving end, you're just going to get completely blasted. So scouting, good. Don't give your position away. Then go downstairs and then get very sneaky with it, because the moment you see the opposing player, that final player, that 1 second difference that you have, you see him and he doesn't see you, can make all the difference in these finishes.
And the thing is, in a way, I'm kind of happy for Cyber that this happened to them, especially for Amrong, that this happened to them during this stage, right?
Yes.
Because with the way they're performing right now, I mean, they could possibly end up being in the main event, and you want to have those mistakes right now.
Yeah, you absolutely do, especially when you've come off of a win in the previous match, right? This is actually the perfect time to have that little setback in a way, because you are able to actually kind of go, yeah, we made a little bit of a mistake. Yeah, we could have played this a little bit better, but hey, we won the last game. We're looking really good. We're second place, only by a margin. We should have had that first. But you know what? It's okay, and that's great for their mentality.
Yeah, I do like also what Seven was talking about, right? It's good to do these mistakes now at this stage for the prelims, going into the main event. Are you going to see a 4MV allow these kind of like mistakes to pass them? No. Or are they going to capitalize on that to make sure not only do they get the win, they get extra eliminations, and off the back of that, they do get extra placements in the rankings. Yeah, this is definitely the time to test things out and get into top 7 at the end, hopefully. But so many good fights, actually since minute 1, Niptura. We had fights happening with T721 to involve 2 of them.
Yes, and I want to say something about that, because it's not even T721, there we go. It's not even them. It was a couple of other teams across the map all having these pre-phase 1
fights, and it was very odd. And it's like, it's something that I want to see, is that I think it shows a switch in the mentality where halfway through the day, they're starting to get more aggressive.
Which I would say is weird because this is the third Erangel, right?
Yes, it's the third Erangel.
Yeah, so that's really confusing that we have hot drops happening all over the place and we really had like got the drop location sorted. True. I can somewhat get it though because it was a southern plane path. So one kind of a off effect of that is the fact that everyone is going to drop in a similar vicinity and that is going to cause a few issues. But one team that had no issues whatsoever until the very end at least was going to be Arcade Cyber getting 18 points on board. Plus Go, it's very top-heavy, just like on the first day of PMGO.
It is. I mean, this is the thing that we've been seeing now back-to-back days. One thing that you guys were mentioning with the 7-2-1, the aggression. It's still there. They're keeping track with their name. 8 eliminations, that's what you want to see out of this team.
Yeah, I want to see more. I just want to see more out of this team because they're, yes, I am quite greedy. Yeah, but they're doing so much. I just want to see them continue that. I don't want them to slow down at all today. Maybe that Miramar, the change of map is going to change something within the team. Maybe they're using these Erangels as their strong maps, but I do feel like they have a little bit more to give for today.
You know what? No more Erangels. So Miramar is going to be coming up and
snipers.
I'm going to be interested. And you know what? I'm going to throw a little bit of a bold prediction here as a team that I want to see do well on that map is ICAD. And looking at them and also like scrim results, etc., Miramar usually not that bad a map, especially in their qualifiers is where the results were going. If there's a point for them, do you want to see them initiate a comeback? I would think that battleground would be the important one.
Okay, Max. I thought you were about to predict something crazier there, so I had the tape ready. Okay, I have tape ready, chat, for everybody currently watching.
If he tries to predict any team, don't worry.
We got
We're going to make sure he doesn't curse anybody.
Sorry, Nepali fans. I'm sorry.
One thing you guys did notice, though, during the match was something that happened in the map. You know what? Let's just jump into that and let's take a review on it.
Yeah, actually, one really strong play from a team that really wasn't involved in that final fight. It wasn't GOAT team. It wasn't also the side of Arcade Cyber. We are going to be focusing heavily on Train to Kill, T2K. Yes. And actually, if you see on this current circle, there's one spot outside of Sunken City where GOAT currently are, which is extremely valuable, and that spot is going to be right here. And the reason why this position is really solid is because it gives you a natural defense, thanks to the train, away from all of these other teams, especially this train right here. This keeps you safe from GOAT, keeps you safe from R8, keeps you safe from Fenerbahce, Arcade Cyber, and all of the other stragglers in Headshot Valley at that point. And the fact that T2K, when they're early, shows that they understand the value of that position is great, but 4 teams, Niptra, ended up fighting for that spot because, again, it was so damn strong at that point of the game.
It was, and I kind of was criticizing in my head T2K a little bit here, kind
players in the process and are just not able to compete for a good late game finish. So
Yeah.
KZ Underage, we know you guys can take amazing fights, but sometimes you just got to roll it back, take it slow, and at least try and get some placement points, because right now, if you keep doing that, there's a very good chance in Iptura they slip out of that heavily contested top 7.
Yeah, because like we know you can fight. We know you're good, right? There's some really good plays coming through here. You just need to wait a little bit more. You need to know when to stop, know when to get to zone as well. Yeah, absolutely. Looking over here, though, we are seeing...
I'm seeing something there. I'm seeing the team
seeing?
starting to rank up and start climbing.
You're so right.
All right.
Max, would you like to take this one?
I am happy. no, I'm very, very excited for RA.
Yeah.
I think that there have been some adjustments happening. I do believe there's been an interview, no spoilers, but happened with Stars. We'll get a little bit of insight later on down when Barney does get around to it, but I think that this is a team that we expected to be able to come back from, right? They had a really, really tough start of the day. I don't think that should have happened to begin with, because again, they're very hyped when it comes to entering the prelims of PMGO, but they're starting to come back. That makes me happy. It needs to continue until the rest of these matches.
That's the main one. It needs to continue. We need to start seeing consistency. These teams are not going to have that many matches left. We're already halfway past the point. We're past the point in regards to day 1. We're getting closer and closer to what's going to be happening here, and who's going to end up going to the main event, because I'm getting excited as we keep getting closer and closer to that main event. But don't forget that BYD is the #1 NEV producer in the world. As part of the PUBG Mobile Global Open, BYD is proud to be the event sponsor. Learn more about BYD models and flexible financing options at the BYD booth during the event, or visit bydauto.com. And if you do ever get a chance, you know, if a taxi driver ever picks you up on it, check it out, because it's awesome. We got a chance to ride it today. We talked about it earlier. I want to talk about it today. I want to talk about it again, actually, because it was actually a really nice
It was
ride.
nice, actually.
Skinning game.
Oh, I would do
like
that. I would buy it.
Spoiler alert.
Oh.
Wait, spoil
Just
wait,
kidding.
spoil something we don't?
Hey,
What's happening?
tell us more.
It's going to be a headline. You got to believe it. You said it. It's going to become a headline.
Yeah, no, I'll get that skin. I'll get it. Take my money.
I mean, you do try to get all the skins that come out.
Yeah, you got
Which
the
one do you
F1,
have?
man.
Yeah, I try and get some supercars, but this would be one I'm like, I'm investing.
Maybe you just need a
Stonks.
MG3 skin. We'll have to wait and see, but don't forget, we do have 2 more matches left after this break.
Welcome back to the PMGO 2025 from Uzbekistan. And it looks like my analyst got switched to just the Infinix GT20 Pro. It does deliver pro-level speed. Not only that, precision and seamless gameplay, giving the ultimate edge to the players. This is the official gaming phone, built to outplay the rest. Okay, you guys may get up now. And you know what? Actually, they're supposed to be here. I don't even think we're supposed to touch them. So, Max, you already have one.
You can watch me in vertical stream too, guys. This is... Ah!
There you go. There you go.
Muppets, reach out.
But as you're talking about the vertical stream, don't forget that you can actually watch the vertical streams on TikTok and on PUBG Mobile Esports. And on top of that, while you're watching that, if you really want to be analytical and you want to get some extra stuff, we do have that mad feed available, which we've been enjoying, and we actually been using it after the day.
Yeah, it's great. VOD review, if you are maybe an up-and-coming professional player, you want to get in PMGO 2026, you know what? Check out the map feed. Is going to be very helpful with all the stats, all the numbers thrown your way. And it's pretty cool.
It is.
Someone would say.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I like
so
it.
far, we are on the PMGO 2025. So let's take a look at so far. We do have 2 matches left going into Miramar. As we go into Miramar, Neptura, I'm going to put you on the spot. Who are you predicting to win the first game?
I don't want to say GOAT because I don't want to curse them. Same with Ake, even though those are my secret picks. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go R8, Nep, and you know what? Exotics. I would love to see something out of Exotics now.
Not 3 games. Just not 3 teams. Just one team.
Exotics.
Exotics. Okay.
Yeah.
Max.
Okay.
Max,
I have a few options when it comes to...
Sorry. Just no predicting from them. You know what? I'm here and the game is ready. Let's send it over to the commentators, John Allen and Blank.
Sometimes you got to do it, you know. When Max starts cursing, you got to pull out all the stops.
To be fair, he properly glazed rules earlier on today.
True.
And you've seen what's happened to Train to Kill.
He's looking like a bit of a donut.
Yeah. So people like to say the Max Man curse isn't real. I think it's time to start believing.
He looks like Harry Potter, like I do. And now he's pulling out the magic.
I don't really think you have any right
yeah,
to call
no, that's
anyone
like,
Harry Potter.
no, that's like, that's our.
Yeah, that's...
He's shouting spells at me now. We are going to be heading into our first Miramar. And you know what? They wouldn't have brought him up, but I will. And I'm continuing to put the screws to R8 because they just haven't been able to turn up in the way that we've expected from them so far. They have got world-class players, but they have not had world-class performances at this stage. They sure got into a late-game circle, but it just wasn't enough in terms of point scoring to jump up to be in contest for the top 7 just yet.
No, not at all. I think for R8, it's a disappointing performance between them and Trying to Kill. I think we expected a little bit more out of both of these teams. Could be nerves, could be anything, honestly, at this point in time. And I think we're just waiting for that pop-off to come through. And I think for Go, as well as Aki Cyber, they're running on pure confidence at the moment. And it's working out. It's working out in a very, very good way for both teams. I think Aki Cyber definitely takes it a little bit for me. I'm Ron. I think he's more of a supportive player at the end of the day anyway, to admin as well as Force. So I can't blame him too much. But again, that clutch up, it should have been his, right? As the S12K, the ghillie suit, the level 3s, the Groza versus a Pump. Come on.
Yeah, you got all the opportunity in the world there. The only one who can trip you up is yourself. Can't be stumbling at that sort of hurdle. Miramar, getting into it, is our next hurdle.
It has been causing us difficulties, you know, actually getting into the plane.
Yeah, you know what? Double check the boarding passes.
Has to be done. But yeah, it looks like the players are getting ready. You know, phones are in hands. That's always a promising sign. But we're heading over towards our first Miramar of the day. We'll have 2. We do have some significant support for Upgrade in the crowd, and Upgrade needs it. Upgrade needs it.
They definitely do. One of the only, actually, I think the only team from Uzbekistan who has not made it into the top 7 just yet, and looking to try and jump on up there. I think we're going to have potentially some things chop and change over the next few matches, but we'll have to wait and see because Miramar is indeed locked and loaded. We are heading into match number 5 here of the prelims for the 2025 PMGO. the plane path from Partona to Torre Ahumada.
So nice and easily here. So getting over towards that eastern road, that eastern coast, very, very simple, towards Impala, Puerto Paraíso, El Azahar, all nice, easy locations to drop into. Los Leones also very open. Via de Mar, you know, we could head over there, but I think most teams looking towards Chumacera, Monte Nuevo in this case. But yeah, getting into Miramar now. A lot more space to work with now. I'm very interested to see how that does affect the dynamic within this lobby, considering there are so many edge teams at the moment. A lot of them very unwilling to play center at the moment, or at least up until very late in the game. That is, with so much more space to play here on Miramar, that will have a strange effect on it where you can't really play on the edge the entirety of the game, because you're going to have to omit yourself from sending into some of the prime locations. So I'd expect here teams to be a little bit more aggressive, especially as we wind down in the day, where you just want to be trying to pump out as many points as possible. Understanding you need a buffer for tomorrow, desperately.
Absolutely. It's about getting to the top 7, and that isn't the sort of position out of a lobby of 16 where you necessarily need to have massive pop-up performances, but it is all about consistency. And this is one of the ways to lack a little bit of consistency, getting the hot drops involved. But it seems like the 721 Aggressors have been all too happy to find themselves in these scenarios, although unfortunately for them, Aggressor may be biting the dust sooner than he would have liked otherwise. Roy, the one to fall in his place on the opposing team of Exotics, as they find themselves still in the scrap. Butcher up top.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, this is a very popular location around the map in Picado, down towards Chumacera. Again, I just don't really think that properly sorted out all of the drop spots just yet, because that is a lot of teams all located around Chumacera right now. You've even got 2 teams towards Los Leones, so this is going to be an awkward exit for a lot of these squads up towards that northeast side, because they do all have to pass through that open ground around La Bandita. But first of all, we're going to get this fight concluded.
Managed to get the flush, I think, onto nobody, but they've got the full surround now. You can see on the mini-map here that the 721 Aggressor have got players in the wings at this stage. Spidey standing up for his team, but it's not going to matter because Yonex there as well on the outside this time, and Pretam falls next. The 721 Aggressors pick up 4 points, sorry, on the Eglims, but they lose one of their players. However, that's a good result. That's a good start for them. They're in 5th place right now, and that's what I was talking about. It's not necessarily about 15, 16, 17-point games. Yeah. It's about 8-point games.
Well, to be honest, if you want to talk about that, I think a great team to look at there would be Fenerbahce. You know, we've not had to talk about them at length too much today, honestly, because they have just been... They've not been magnificent, but they haven't been floundering either. Goodness me. Get that thing through the fence. And they're in 3rd place because of it, 35 points. We know Turkey is a pretty damn good region. Got Black Esports there, not doing so hot, currently 14th place. But yeah, Fenerbahce, I've been fairly happy with them. I think I talked about them earlier today as well, in terms of their performance, just pretty consistent rotates. But again, that will see you easily into the top 7, which is what you're looking for.
Definitely. There are definitely teams who are much more volatile, and if you can just sort of stay the course, steady in the storm, you will see yourself to calmer waters. Although I'm not sure that's necessarily the best way to describe the finals. They are certainly treacherous. A lot of really strong teams waiting around the corner. You think this lobby's tough? Well, wait until you see the others.
Yeah, when we get towards that main event, it's going to be a totally different playing field. Very excited to see that one come to pass, though. Nepex up towards El Azahar, currently in 10th place. And Dope as well at 17 points in 9th. T2K, 23 points at the moment. I think for them, they are still in, so Max's curse is not as potent as we thought it was going to be.
No, I've still been paying attention to RA, as have our interviewers. We caught up with their coach during the break. Let's hear about everything going through their mind.
I've got the coach from R8 Esports with me. It is, of course, Stars. Stars, we're talking about coach things. I want to know, what's your coaching style and what kind of unique thing do you bring to the table as a coach?
So I used to be a player, and I just became a coach not so long ago. One of the biggest things I hate as a player is coaches forcing their opinions on me. So the approach I take is I try to put all my tactics in a structure and align everyone's thoughts on the same page.
I love that. And you know, all of the players, when they come here, or when they come to a LAN event, there's the lights, there's the big stage, there's the cameras. A lot of them can seize up and get a bit worried. How do you keep your players calm and focused?
So first of all, our players are very experienced in the game. And also during our daily training, this is when we prepare for the tournament. So right here, all we have to do is perform like how we have trained ourselves to.
Stars, a brilliant interview, but I'm going to have to cut it there because we've got to get back into the action. Thank you so much. Best of luck to R8 Esports and the rest of the tournament.
Thank you very much.
And we'll head back into the action.
Hey, you know what? Maybe he should be forcing some of his opinions onto his players, because right now it hasn't been as illustrious as maybe they would have liked, but maybe I just need a little bit of cooking time to be able to gather all of that information available to them to really deliver on what they want to find out. And if you guys want to gather all the information available to you, well, there is a perfect place for you to do it. That is right, you can head over to both the YouTube and TikTok channels, PUBG Mobile Esports, and you can find yourself the vertical stream, which contains not only this main broadcast, but also has the map going on the entirety of the game, has the player cameras, has the stats, has the tables are available to you, as well as the added advantage of not even having to rotate your phone sideways, so you can be flicking back and forth between your apps, making sure you're always up to date.
Absolutely, and there's also our official map feed over on at PUBG Mobile Esports on YouTube, so make sure you check that one out to keep up to date with all the rotations that are going through and keep yourself nice and educated, because there is certainly a lot to be learned, especially as a player who likes to jump into PUBG Mobile, not just watching the esports scene on the side too. So very, very helpful stuff. And if you just want to keep up with the map feed on the side, if you've got 2 screens available to you, you can do that too. Now, you said about forcing your opinions on players. Let's put it this way, if I was making bread and I kept omitting the flour, I would hope at some point you didn't just allow me to keep doing that.
So guys, what do we think's going wrong here?
Yeah.
We haven't put any flour. Yes, we haven't put any flour in.
Yeah.
What should we do about it? Don't know.
Don't know.
No idea.
Very difficult. Yeah. It's I think there does come a point where a coach does need to put the foot down. This might be a valuable lesson.
2 players are knocked, but they have managed to pick up a point against Dope. Payne on the ridge line. 2 players knocked. SK-Ton a little bit more resable right now. Prestige and Marth into the fight with Dope, who currently do have 3 players all up and alive, but they're not all on location. They're not on site just yet. You can see them off in the distance, a little bit slower to it. Payne rolling forwards into this fight, looking for the flush. Will actually be able to take him down with a front bumper. The swap into the passenger seat, we've seen this time and time again go awry, and it will be no different now. However, R8 do fully lose their 2 players in the process.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how that worked out for R8, honestly. But they do get away with 2 of their players, which is better than none. 2 eliminations to show for it. Dope in a very similar situation.
The circle pops hard northwest away from those dastardly islands out to the east side. Blank, not going to be going there this time around. So we're back over towards San Martin, towards Graveyard, that truck stop area as well, north of La Bandita. A lot of difficult terrain to try and navigate your way up, especially on that western edge, where teams like Black Esports are going to have to look. Maybe where Dope are going to be forced to play in, but on the edge of it is that R8 position.
Shots coming through from Action. That's pretty far away for Nyx to be going for that one. Upgrade currently hunkered down off in the distance. Yeah, again, we've seen circles end around here already in the qualifiers. It's a difficult spot to play, very, very open. Luckily, this time it's a little bit further east of San Martin, so you don't have that valley that sits through Graveyard, which is in a really awkward area to play. Instead, we're heading further over towards Truck Stop, so there is undulations in the geometry of the map here where you can play within those trenches, which is really, really nice. And there's still just the Truck Stop as well as Minas.
Nade over the top from Domain does tag a little bit of damage onto Master. Trying to convert with a second. Again, a little bit of damage. More and more pressure added as Nepex moving past. Venus Generalis looking for the roll down. doesn't really know how to handle that one, and it will be a nice clean pickup for them. They should be able to find a second point as well. It's just down and bleeding out over the ridgeline from them. And no way that you see a pickup coming through from K21 in this scenario.
Yeah, NXP, pretty good spot for themselves. Taking that shot over towards K21. That does work out. Again, I think NEPX just doing slightly better for themselves overall. It has been a slow improvement over the day.
You'd rather slow improvement than no improvement, though.
Yeah, which is kind of what we're seeing from Action Esports, sadly. K21 in a similar scenario. I think that, yes, they've been getting eliminations here and there, but getting towards that end game is just not too much of a possibility at this point in time.
It's going to be very tricky, especially given like how central they are as well, because they've got so many teams that surround them. That Labandita crater forces teams either to the east or to their west, so maybe a little bit of a respite there, but it's really not looking too strong for them as we get a little vision on Aki Cyber. Current lobby leaders facing up against Action, current lobby losers, as Force goes down first, and it's Gigante to be able to find the opener. Zvezda wants to spray down out into the open, doesn't connect onto two. Force is in a reservoir position, but Imran charging on in with the pump action. Up to the staircase, doesn't take the damage in response. Up top, it's Admin, trying to rule the lobby here. Nade out through the window, takes his enemy low, drops him down with a pump action. 1-2 punch from the two teams. One up, one low, into the vehicle, trying to hide from danger, and actually survives for a little bit longer than maybe he thought he would. But Admin with another nade now, looking to try and put the pressure on. They should see him there, just looking for the flush instead.
Admin now looking for another nade over the top, and it is a possibility for him to get this one. It's pretty on target, honestly. Very nicely done, and finds the shot mid-air.
Gigante into the corner, looking for the heal. Admin as well. Nick with the cook on the nade. Should know that the drop down occurred. And into the building with the pump action. Admin is a madman, and he's on a tear. Zvezda in for the res, and they're looking to keep it all together. Last player now alive for Action, and straight in through the window. Admin, is there anything he can't do?
A 1v4 practically coming through from Admin there, keeping the team alive. Yeah, Force goes down, but there was an instantaneous reaction with the smokes. They delayed that fight out as long as possible. I will say Imran was having some horrible flashbacks in terms of shotgun shenanigans. Luckily holds his own for long enough. Quick switch into the party bus as well. Does work out. Great outplay, though, coming through from Admin, as per. Getting the flush mid-air was kind of just styling on them at that point.
It's pretty mean, I would say, all things considered. It's not a fun time to be on the receiving end of that one, but you know what? Action kind of used to it at this stage with only 5 points on the tournament so far. And yeah, we definitely need a replay. This is that first nade. He actually secured the flush, spotted that other player off in the back line. I'm surprised that Lennox didn't see this in response, see that nade come through the window. He was completely unaware that that was happening. And that was that drop down. Why didn't Gigante know that there was anyone there? It feels like they're not talking to each other on Action.
Yeah, I mean, that is a literal 1v4, though.
Kinda, yeah.
But we have to put it in perspective. It was the slowest 1v4 I've seen in a while.
Let's see what more they can do here on the south side, because I think Fenerbahce have just rolled into town near them. That Labandita crater being traversed right now by Zvezda. And Fenerbahce have taken a knock. They're going to want to invest the time to get this res, but is that going to come back to bite them?
Goodness me. Aki Cyber now up to 7 points. 6 eliminations on the game. They are just trying to send it through, desperately not wanting to lose those tires on the buggy. Ooh. The back right one does get spun out, but by that time they're already in on the south side of Minas Generalis. Awkward spot to be in. And we're going to stay over towards truck stop. Okay.
All right. There's a lot of teams already in the middle of this circle as well, so could be dangerous. Fenerbahce finally find a shot over towards Aki Cyber. They'll be playing on with 2. You can see they're already rolling away. Oh, no, Admin stopped. And that is an ominous threat being leveled towards them. Zvezda seemingly the bait for the bullets right now, because he's not going to be able to do too much from up there anymore. Flushed away, and Fenerbahce doing work here. 1 versus 4, question mark, for Admin?
I'm going to do it twice in a row. It'd be awesome. Currently down hidden. I'm not sure if Fenerbahce actually have info on this spot. Last player alive, though. 6 eliminations is good. If you can get the flush on that player, it'd be fantastic.
Oh, we've seen him. Seen him. He knows. Dead to rights. Needs to be confident in this headshot. A little step to the left and it's immediately broadside. Spray? No, not going to pull the trigger.
I mean, fair play to him because it's an iffy scenario there because he could just peek his head back around the corner. I'm not sure if he's rocking a level 3 there either, which would have made that even more difficult. But this is a perfect time to go for it.
Yeah, you have to. You have to, but Merciless with the fancy feet gives his teammates time to respond, and nobody was quick on the swivel. Able to take care of him. Admin finally out of the lobby. 6 elims on the game. Not a bust, but still could have been better on that engagement.
Yeah, fancy footwork kind of saves him there because I think Admin in that situation does have a clear plan. You know, you take down the first guy, you rotate round the front of the rock, and you just take the full face fire with nobody across in the distance.
Yeah, you isolate those fights. Try and challenge in the best possible odds. Nepex with a chance towards Upgrade, who are looking to upgrade their gameplay here. They're not really having the success that they would want. There is a knock in the back lines getting rezzed on up, and you can see Ramses in that forefront as well, crawling towards what seems to be his inevitable demise here.
Yeah, it's what we call a downgrade.
Side grade?
No,
okay.
Because they're definitely much lower than they were in the qualifiers.
This is not ideal for them. Another knock and another flush coming through from Rex. They're going to reign over this position. Domain has 2 players rolling up on him, and they're struggling to find the shots, and he's landing his. They jump around the side, and it's still not connecting. Nobody's connecting, it seems, though, because there goes the final shot to the flush, and only Ruzen survives. But he will be able to res Buzz here, has got a little bit of cover. However, in the sidelines, the rest of Nepex ready to roll.
2 players still up and alive, and they come. And will finish off the Malevolent Shrine that just occurred earlier coming through from Domain. Not quite able to finish off both players, but definitely did enough damage. Nepex will be happy with an 8 elimination game. Pretty gargantuan one coming through here for Nepex, and much needed. Up to 7th place now, so they will have made it in. Both Nepali teams locked neck and neck right now.
Next circle soon to close on N. We'll figure out where we're going. Who's going to have the advantage? In the center of the circle, we're seeing Trained to Kill on that north edge of the high ground that sits in the middle, and it does go slap bang on top of it again. Right now, R8 as well have presence there. And in their corner, it's actually pretty difficult to get towards them, given the presence on the north side from Trained to Kill.
Yeah, I mean, for Minister Ellis, you got that tiered area around the front, getting over towards the buildings. I think there's plenty of places to hide and stay. I think most teams just kind of want to stay out there just the time being. Black Esports, on the other hand, on the western side, they're just going to move straight in. They know there's an opportunity to go for some buildings, so they'll just take that one up. For R8, though, you're right, they're pretty safe, sightlines-wise at least.
Black Esports have been spotted there on the roll-up by Trained to Kill. As we get a look at the lay of the land, you can see R8 atop the hill in the distance there as Nepex closing down on the final player from K21. I don't know if they're aware of his presence. Yep, they certainly are now. And Rex able to add up another to their tally. 9 elims now blank, and they are in to 7th place.
Yeah, dropping T2K down. I think for T2K, they're starting what they've got that rivalry between both teams at the moment. I think they'd like both of them to go through to the main event, though, alongside with the Uzbekistan Massive at the top. Aki Cyber, the 721, as well as Divergent.
Oh no, Fenerbahce. They find the remnants of Nepex, and they will put them down. So, an opportunity for Trained to Kill to be able to maintain that top 7 position going into our final map of the day. And only, it looks like 3 points away from it. With 9 teams remaining, the placements will start to kick in soon. Nepex not going to be the beneficiary of any. And not only if they jump up towards 26, they wouldn't go up to just 7th, they go up to 6th as well, because of KZE. Sat there in 6th place on a tie with 26 26 as well.
That's correct.
Hell yeah.
For Nepex, though, I mean, 9 elimination games really nice. I think they're very happy with it. No placement points, sadly, as you don't tally up over 9 plates here. But about G out in the open, and Mambe very happy to pick up that elimination, which he should get with that tag.
Yeah, there it goes. Oh, was that stolen away? I think that might have been. Oh no, it was his. It was his. It did go his way, and he can get Baby Tang back on up. In the meantime, Divergent have moved in next door to Fenerbahce. You got the 721 aggressors as well trying to push on through. This is a replay of the elimination onto Shroud that Rex was able to achieve, and then Nepex getting picked up. Long-range spray downs out in the open.
It was a really nice angle, to be honest with you. To pick that one up in the process. Divergent down towards that south side. Now, this is a really difficult position to play, and I think GOAT team actually has a good read on this one, where they can play from up above on the high ground, down towards the south. Obviously, you would like to be in this area, but as you've already seen in Minas Generalis, there are so many open windows and open spaces where you get some nasty shots coming through to you. So with T2K and GOAT, they're both playing for endgame. When you head into Minas Generalis, it's not always the nicest thing to do. Realistically, most of the time, it's just like 1 or 2 teams that survive the brutal combat that happens in that location. And Black Esports have a massive amount of space set up in this locale.
Look at the sightlines. Igneous. Oh, doesn't spot him leaving. Will do now. Surely, those vehicles rotate completely to a different hillside. Now it's up to Rulezog. Keep the suppression going, but GOAT quality into the next circle.
Rules OG.
Yep.
It's not an alien.
Could be. You don't know.
Crazy. Divergent. Currently chilling. Again, this is what I'm talking about. You just take one team after another. It's so easy to leapfrog in this location, which is why any team like T2K as well as GOAT, realistically these locations can only be held by 4-man teams anyway, because you need a lot of sight lines around there to find advantage. 721 aggressors heading in, but again, there is no space at the end right now.
Immediately, the door shut right in their face. Spidey the next to fall as well. And the 721 aggressors denied any room here on the staggered hillsides here to push in towards these areas, towards the north. Black Esports managing to maintain their hold on the south side with all 4 of their players alive is great news. Divergent spotted out by Dope, who are on 7 elims. Blank, there's another team that could actually jump into the top 7 here.
Yeah, it's a really, really nice shot coming through from Mambe, and then this one followed up there by Baby Tang with the Mini 14 suppressed.
Oh, jump shot.
That's in the building.
Oh, that's at his feet. Run away. Gets out of it.
It is funny that people do have like such a habit of jump throwing in this game, especially in buildings.
Yeah.
Causes such issues.
Oh, he gets spotted actually. I think that's from Black Esports. They managed to find a side swipe angle. Bit of a mad reposition forced by the nade, and now position is spotted. Mambe again having to put Baby Tang back up for the 2nd time in this building. And he will be able to revive his teammate, but Black Esports carry on.
That's big.
You're right, it is. That's a pickup on the northern side, and GOAT quality are going straight for it. They're going for the high ground, Black.
I mean, taking that shot over towards T2K is nice. Now to at least get one knock over towards that location. Difficult to get up there with them, though. I mean, they're posted up on the mountainside. I mean, they would have to lift the vehicle up, but Varanik finding Igneous, like, what is happening up there? This actually is a moment in time where they could send the vehicles up. It's going to take a little while, but it's going to take even longer to get both those reses. This is a ridiculous push coming through from GOAT. Why would you peek the 2nd time?
I mean, they're pushing up. They're pushing all the way on in. They had that forward position, and Icurd are dealing with the off angle as well. You've got Love there, sure, for Train to Kill, but he can't have an impact with Icurd sat where they are. It's going to be so much harder for him to have an impact. He doesn't have the freedom to do what he wants to do what he's been put there for. And now, Train to Kill, losing a player. GOAT can get ahead.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when you lose a player like that, it's a case of one player stands by with a nade to throw on the vehicle and the other tucks in and goes for the res. You don't peek in that situation because as soon as you have 2 knocks up there, you open up a scenario where no one can hold guard as a team starts to move up over on the cliffside due to vehicles. So, yeah, big misplay from T2K.
Dope up to 7 elims, 24 points. They will get some placements out of this match. The question is how much. Mambe trapped in the corner. Finally has his teammate taken away from him. Black Esports still putting the pressure on, but Aussie can't quite stand up to the return fire from Mambe. Stage 7, this zone hurts and can't quite make the dash. Lord Cedric cuts across, actually has the backup from the rest of the team. They are still playing as 4, and this res is possible.
I think he's coming in too fast. I don't think he can pick his teammate. We'll see. Maybe he can grab it. Oh no, it's not coming in fast enough at all. So yeah, they do pick that one up. Nice. Very nicely done. Love is down on an island on the eastern side. So things go from bad to worse here for T2K. What should have been such a simple game for them as well has turned real sour real quick. And this was a big, this was a huge chance for T2K. We even duct taped Max's mouth and they still managed to find a way.
I know. Well, Love gets caught on the cross, tries to drop down, crawl over to his teammates. The only way he was going to survive, but they were not allowed to do that. They were denied entry, so playing on as 2, and now GOAT quality on that northern side, the major force there. Black Esports in response on that south, also a force to be reckoned with. And ICURD may be an outside chance here if they can get rid of the 2 players remaining from R8.
Again, that is a rough circle for Black Esports. The fact that he even keeps that hilltop in for GOAT is really important for them, especially in stage 8, because it will force Black Esports out into the open, and GOAT can move forwards and at least leave a backstop up there for the time being. Again, this also forces T2K to take a fight with him. Overall, GOAT's been impressive today, as has been Ake Cyber. Great to see.
It was a good nade out the door, but Marth eats one in response, and R8 proved to be little resistance to ICURD on the eastern side. Now, they are one of the 3 teams with 4 players alive, trained to kill, up on their high ground, up on their throne, but isolated as 2. The only team without all 4 alive.
Black Esports now need to start moving over the top. T2K can peek over towards GOAT. They are playing as 2, but they do have a setup there specifically for that scenario. But Varanik and his teammate in this location do need to be a little bit careful with how they deal with ICURD now, as well as Black Esports. But again, likely both these teams will be taking shots at one another anyway.
We'll see how long they can stay up there. This stage closes to the middle blank, so they can stay up until the next circle starts to shift, at which point they will have to drop down. The focus will be on GOAT. Okay, they're first of all isolating that vehicle. They are not wanting anyone to play on that. As they drop down, they want to try and cause chaos and separate the 2 positions for GOAT quality. And it's wise. I think they're going to be looking for that drop down now because the zone is shifting. In the meantime, Black Esports marching their way forwards. Shots maybe towards the high ground, and actually damage done to GOAT quality down the hill. That 2-player position up the top.
Yeah, they're just lobbing grenades down, keeping them at bay. But I think for T2K, this is a case of just trying to steal away as many elims as possible from up on high. I don't really think they can drop down. Good shot from Lord Cedric, but Ephius immediately counters.
What that does is actually cause chaos towards the low ground. It forces GOAT quality to choose fight or go for the res. That means that T2K may have the opportunity to drop down now as they have to go headlong into the fight, and Ephius is down. Both players fall in response, and T2K are chiming into that forward position, already finding these knocks from the high ground. They might be able to find something, and that's what they were looking for. Now it's just one player moving. No, it's both of them. They both stayed alive there. ICURD sweeping across in the meantime as well as 4, and they are now the major force in this circle.
That is mad that T2K is able to overlap. Go. Goodness me. I did not see that one coming. Again, now they've got to make their way down the hillside or fight this out to the bitter end.
Long nade up to the high ground from iCurd, but doesn't quite go the distance. Dropping down now, making it behind
no
the
one
second
shot
smoke.
him?
iCurd on the backlines, not controlling it, but he's spotted. And on the low ground, will be picked up with the auto shotty. But in the meantime, Black Esports swelling across the low ground. T2K are out, but iCurd have lost one. A 2v1, a 1v3 now for Lord Cedric into the backlines. Low HP on the side, but it is not going to be enough cover for him. And it is iCurd to close down Miramar.
You know, from an early rotate in towards Minas Generales, pretty impressive stuff there coming through from iCurd. They waited for the turn, essentially, to play this one in. For Black Esports, also commendable game from them. They were taking a lot of very interesting shots, but from Go as well as T2K, some blunders on both sides, I'd say, on that situation. I think that you either focus over towards Black Esports or fully focus towards the drop down coming through from T2K and then ramp as a four-man and try and isolate that fight with Black Esports before iCurd starts to push out. It's a hard decision to make in the moment though, and I actually really don't blame them for going for the 2-2 split in the moment. There's just so much to be thinking about.
It is a really chaotic situation to be in. I mean, that high ground from T2K, it felt like they were really just saying, you know what, we're not going to win this one. We're just going to try and hold on to this. But then that knock that GOAT were able to find towards them earlier, that isolation of Love on one of their plateaus as well, it really just didn't play well for them. Maybe they could have readjusted to be 2-2 rather than 3-1, but even then, I don't know if that would have played any better for them.
The 3-1 was fine. It's the fact that they double peaked after one player got knocked on the high ground. Because you can see here, the only way that GOAT gets up here is if there's two knocks going on the top side, someone has to res at that point so they can get the vehicles to climb up the cliff face. So yeah, it was a big misplay from T2K. I think that if they just held as soon as they got that first knockover towards them, went for the res, that's what you wanted to see from T2K. Instead of going for the second peak, it was just greedy. It was just greedy.
They did still manage to get a couple points on the board though, so a decent result, even if iCurd were able to take the chicken dinner away. I think it was a fairly low elim count for GOAT quality as well, so
yeah, very low.
Not a very profitable match for them, which is unfortunate given that they are the team chasing Akicyber towards the top of the tables, but Train to Kill, I think the major focus of that lobby, right? They had a lot of presence towards the top side, towards that oversight, so we'll see if T2K can pick it up a little bit further into the future. We have got an interview lined up with Train to Kill over on the stage with Barney.
Welcome back to the main stage where I've got Rules with me from T2K. What an interesting match. I really wanted to get a chance to have a conversation with you about that because early on in that one, you guys claimed a mountaintop, and once you get up there, you really can't get off. So you have to go up there with the resources and the loot that you already have and try to survive as long as you can. Did you have a good amount of resources, or did you just plan on getting up there and staying there till late game?
हामीले चाहिँ अर्ली अन हाई ग्राउन्ड लिइरहेको थियो अनि हाई ग्राउन्ड लिइसके पछाडि धेरै बडी लुट्न पनि पाइँदैन, जति रिसोर्सेस छ त्यतिमै खेल्नुपर्छ. सो हाई लिने बेलामा लुट थियो कि अलि डिफिकल्ट नै थियो लुट वाइज चाहिँ यो गेममा?
हामीसँग चाहिँ लुट अलि डिफिकल्ट नै थियो भनौँ न. अब छिटो लुटेर डाँडा च्यापौँ किनकि रोटेसनहरू कट अफ गर्न सकिन्छ कि भनेको, बट जोन त्यहीँको त्यहीँ इन भएको कारणले चाहिँ हामीलाई अलि प्रेसर पऱ्यो भनौँ.
We took the hill early on because we thought that if the zone ships away, then we could be able to cut off the rotations, so that it did not give us much time to loot. So we were struggling through the resources, and then once the zone started coming into us the same hill, it became pretty difficult because that was not in our plan.
We also had like quite an important 3-1 split. Love was on like an east side mountain as well. Was that just, I want to talk about the plan behind that. Was that just because you wanted him to get additional information or a separate angle onto where all the other teams were?
ब्लब चाहिँ 1-3 को स्प्लिटमा थियो हैन. ब्लब चाहिँ अलि साइडपट्टिको हिलमा होल्ड गरिरहेको थियो. सो त्यो हाम्रो प्लान नै हो साइडपट्टिको हिलमा लबलाई एडिसनल इन्फर्मेसनको लागि राख्ने कि के थियो?
हाम्रो प्लान नै हो रोटेसन. अब इन्फर्मेसन कलेक्ट गर्नको लागि चाहिँ हामीले छुट्टै खेलाएको थियौँ.
That's under our plan because in such zone we try and keep one player in that hill as well because we get additional info from there as well.
Okay, so it was mainly for the information. Rules, thank you so much for joining me in this post-match interview. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are doing so well. Let's hope T2K can make their way into the main event. But for now, we're going to head back to the analysts to continue day one of the prelims.
Great information there from T2K, especially from Rules. I mean, what else do you want to know about that, right? One thing, though, that I am intrigued, that I want to know, Max, and that you kind of pointed out for me was they decided not to fight that much, especially when they got to the top.
Yeah, resource management, man. That is just all that was really of the essence in that game for them. Just making sure they don't take shots too early, because otherwise, if you have to take a fight, you're just not going to have the bullets, maybe the resources, and especially not the utility, which is really good to nade people downwards on a cliffside to get those eliminations. But even then, they sure had a like, good early game rotation here in Iptura, but then one thing happened, and that was GOAT quality, which was not a good thing.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, it was good for GOAT. It just wasn't that good for T2K,
exactly.
Right? They got that knock and then were able to really push over and kind of limit T2K completely there. And it really comes down to this fine line of, even if T2K have that position and they're like, we're not going to do a thing until late game, it's really, really difficult to keep your momentum going when you put yourselves in a position like that, right? So for them, it's one of those things where you have this thing of you're losing that momentum, and so you're not actually ready to take those pushes and take those fights when that aggression comes towards you.
And it's something that's happened already that we have seen, right? Especially today. I can't remember the top of my mind. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. It was Divergent and Underage as well, wasn't it? It was those two. It was the 1v3 in game number 2. The exact same thing happened. You had this thing of they were fine, Divergent were chill, but they were too chill. And then once that other team comes up, it's like, oh, actually we're not prepared. We're not mentally prepared for this, and you end up losing.
We've seen it over and over again in the past, Max.
Yeah, not
it
a great trend.
Way too much.
Yeah, it's just you gotta have that click moment where it's just like, okay, stop messing around. Let's start getting into the action here, and hopefully get more points on board, more eliminations, more placement points. I don't really care. Just get one of the two.
Them, yeah.
If possible, both of them. That would be even better. But so it's not going to be happening every single time as you go through some of the replays. And really, Blank is becoming a giga fan of admin. Like,
yeah.
He just keeps giving him content after content every single fight, I have the impression. And really grows admin, 2 players that now are, in my eyes, the most impressive players in Uzbekistan. And if they can keep living up to that kind of legacy they've set so far, man, going into the main event, they can do that again. That would be even more impressive.
Absolutely. No, I think we're going to be seeing them a lot more regularly on the global stage for sure. If this is how they hold their own against teams in increasing difficulty as we get a little bit more global and more global, certainly in the main stage, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, it's looking very promising for them, Max.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think just to give a comparison is Shifu. This guy was playing in PMGO EU back in the day, and it was like, this guy, this individual is going to get picked up by a big team. And now he's like joined what Dagestan 77 X Godlike. So like, you know, these names, you might see them in the future, maybe even in PMWC, PMGC, it doesn't matter. I'm sure we'll see them in future events, but like, bring it back. Still good games. Looking at the leaderboards here, 17 points for iKurd that actually had some really interesting rotations I have to mention here, which was their Eastern rotates. They were playing pretty passive here in Iptura, not getting involved in too many fights because they knew that Minas Generalis was going to be a hot commodity. Everyone was going to send it over. They're like, we know exactly how the lobby is going to respond to this circle, to this scenario that was being gifted to them. What's going to be happening here? We play it chill. When everyone's already engaged and push inside the circle, when everyone is wounded, there's 2 out of 4 players, and that is when you swarm the compound.
Absolutely, and I love how they played that mid to late game before that push as well, right? Great big splits, a nice 2-2, just to get that control over the zone, that informational control, so they knew the next step as soon as possible.
I mean, for iKurd, I got to give him props. 17 points. This is a team that definitely needs those points as we're getting here towards the end of day 1. And boy, do they make a jump up. As you can see them there in 7th place.
But we're still seeing an issue, which is you got that one banger game, okay?
Yes.
I talked about KZ
Max,
Underage.
they just got the win. Give them some props.
I want to be negative today. No, realistically, it's cool to see they can get that pop-off performance. It's like, I just need a little bit more, right? I know that it's easier said than done when we're out here on the desk. We're not playing, but I do still want to see a little bit more consistency, and that would allow them to stay in top 7 and be pretty safe going in tomorrow.
And if we're being picky here in regards to placement points, I'm going to be looking at one team that's going to stand out massively, and I don't know if you're seeing it as well, Natura. It's 7-2-1 aggressors.
Yes.
They're getting those eliminations. Those placement points aren't there.
What placement points?
What placement points? Literally. It's like literally less than 5 points. 4 points on the board compared to 30. That's pretty impressive. It's just we need to see kind of a little bit more even. But honestly, it seems to be kind of that way throughout the second half of the leaderboard, Max.
Yeah, I mean, second half of the leaderboards, I'm seeing R8 that had quite a few green arrows in the leaderboards. Like, they were slowly climbing up. So, like, is this the comeback of R8? We've been asking, well, not since game one. They're not going to do a comeback on game one, but from game two. Not been the case, and here they actually get a red arrow. They're going down in the leaderboards. R8, we're almost at the halfway point here. One more game before we get to that kind of critical moment for the prelims. You're not going to have a lot more time to initiate that comeback to make in top 7.
R8 is starting to get those points. It feels like this might be one of those teams that might need the win. They might need that win to
like
finally
Iker.
get... Yeah, like Iker. Because Iker, I mean, going into that last match, they were in 15th place. And now they're in a position where coming into tomorrow, especially you're kind of setting yourself up for tomorrow, right?
Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking that this is the final game. This is the final game of Miramar, final game of the day. This is really, really where you want to set up for tomorrow. It's no longer about today. You've got to put today out of your mind. This is the setup for tomorrow. How are you going to take away, what are you going to take away from this day, and how is that going to influence tomorrow's games as well? So this Miramar is all about getting the best you can, or at least just an improvement from the first 5 games.
I'm just looking at this and I'm like, well, actually, we could have gotten 3 chicken dinners from GOAT. Like, we were that close to getting a third win from GOAT.
Very
and
close.
again, teams that when you look at the entirety of this lobby, GOAT, I was like, no, might be able to make it in top 7. They're like, we are going to be top 1. And right now, these results are making that possible so far.
I want to continue to see that confidence out of GOAT quality. It's not just GOAT quality, it's also GOAT confidence that they currently have. We do want to go watch that last match, though, because this is day 1 of PMGO Uzbekistan Prelims. So you know what? Let's send it over to the commentators, Blank and John Island.
Absolutely. Let's send it over here. We are ready and willing to receive the honor of casting this final match today.
Yes, we are.
I think so.
I'm ready.
I'm so ready.
Are you ready?
No, you're Blank.
I'm ready.
No. Oh, okay. I see what we did there.
I'm very ready.
Yeah, that's true.
Ultra ready.
Omega ready?
For this last match of the day, where we will be kind of like putting into perspective like who's not really going to have a chance for tomorrow. Because a lot of times we have the 3-day tournaments. That's usually what we go for in an international. Here it's slightly different with Smash Rules towards the end. We go through with prelims here. Again, you do have that buffer, and then it sort of differentiates in tomorrow where you have like 10 teams that could shift around a little bit, and then you have the 6 underneath who don't really have that much of a chance. An outside chance maybe, but not much of a chance. So if you can set yourself up today, like Aki Cyber have done, like GOAT have done, it's going to give you a massive boon going into tomorrow. I'd quite like to see an absolute slobberdocker again coming through from Aki Cyber at this final match of the day to really solidify their position going into the main event, because I think they deserve it. I think they really do deserve it.
Absolutely. Those 7 tickets are going to be hotly contested, however. Everybody wants a piece of it. Dope, no less than anyone else. And they had a little bit of a glimmer of hope over the course of today. The plane path about to be loaded on in, as for the 6th time today we will fly over the battleground. This time it is Miramar, of course, and we're going from Puerto Paraíso up towards the northwest side, towards the ruins, towards Crater Fields.
That's not right. That looks very wrong.
Something is stationary, but it should be moving. Hopefully we can get that one sorted out. But yeah, you can see in the picture-in-picture there.
Public map
We
feed.
fixed it instantly. There we go. Nothing even happened, and I don't know what you're talking about. But you're right, you could check it out over on the public map feed, which is available on YouTube at PUBG Mobile Esports. And you can head on there and keep track of all of your, any of your favorite teams rather, and all of the teams simultaneously. You can see where they're rotating, get the tips, the tricks on how to navigate your way through some of the most treacherous terrain in the game.
Exactly, and with Miramar, Arangel, as well as Sandhawk, there are very different rotates you need to make here. And again, incorporate those into your own gameplay is always going to be useful in the long run. KZE dropping out nice and early towards Puerto Paraíso. And we do, come on map feed, don't fail me now.
It's fine.
It's fine, it's still going. GOAT's dropping very far up towards the north side. And again, this is a much more reasonable playing path as opposed to the last one we saw. Despite that, we still have, what is that, 3 teams all in the same locale down towards that south side. That is a hard shift over towards the western side. That is a grim circle.
Certainly is. A lot of that western side cuts itself out with that high ground being unplayable beyond that cliff that sits all the way to the west. It's also a lot of open territory on that western road, right? You've got those long, sloping, open positions where, sure, if you get there early into the buildings that sit on the west side of that road, you can have a pretty decent hold-off, but getting there, really, really tricky unless you're there first. And even then, it's a gamble that it's going to go out that way. So it's a really nasty area of the map.
Yeah, it's quite funny because it's like you can rotate fairly easily from the south side of the map through Valle de Mar, Mr. Morales, over Chumacera. You could rotate towards the north side of the map through Torre Armada, all the way past La Cobreria and down El Pozo. Like you say, though, once you get to that point, you know, getting to those positions where it is open area is fine, but it's a question of whether someone's there already. So the initial rotational path, pretty simple, pretty simple. After that, though, it's a case of kind of playing Tetris with the teams and trying to fit them in where you can.
It is rough stuff, and that is not an easy puzzle to solve, let me tell you. We've seen it time and time again. Be the downfall of many a team, no matter how strong, no matter how prolific and storied. It is always a tough challenge. Goat up on the northern side, split around La Cobreria and Crater Fields. Will have to make their way down at some point. They are not in this next zone. Monte Nuevo fully occupied by Black Esports right now, so they should really have the pick of the litter in terms of where to go in this circle. But where do you choose, really? I feel like for them, for my money, you go south towards the La Riera Hills and take that north point of it.
Right now, you do nothing.
Well, yeah, now you're looting right now, but...
Not even then. Like, right now, you literally do nothing.
You think you stay in Monte Nuevo if you're Black Esports?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because what if this goes north? What if it goes... It could go either way, right? You currently have a central position. This is the easiest it's going to get to rotate when you get to stage 2. So there's no reason to move right now. You're just waiting. You're just waiting. No matter what happens, they're likely going to be the first to whatever the circle deems is going to be central on zone 2. So we can just chill for now. Really, the onus is going to be on teams like Go, because they're in La Cobreria, which is close enough, but they're going to have to zoom in. And it's a question of where is their landing post coming from. For me, you know, heading over towards the hillside that sits towards the El Pozo, to the side of El Pozo, sorry, that would be fantastic. That would be where I'd post up in particular.
They're going to have to figure out how to go all the way from the top of the map to somewhere around the bottom side of it. Of course, a lot of verticality in that rotation, and a lot of verticality available on our new vertical stream, officially on PUBG Mobile Esports on YouTube and TikTok, where you can get all of the info that you need available to you. Not only this main feed that you may be watching now, unless you're already watching the vertical feed, in which case, well done, but also the map, the player cams, the stats as well. And if you just want to see the map as a separate stream, you can do that as well. We provided that for you. It's very gracious of us. I know. You can thank me later. Over on YouTube at PUBG Mobile Esports, and that is a separate stream. You can whack it up on a second monitor, a second browser window if you have that sort of technology available to you, or on a second phone. Maybe another Infinix GT20 Pro.
Yeah, what John's trying to say is we're not forcing it upon you. You may have it if you wish.
But you have to.
But you don't. No, you don't have to.
No, you have to.
You don't have to have it.
What?
You could just have that, actually.
You mean I've got this stream up on 7 different devices and I don't have to?
Well, you don't. You can, though. And it's probably beneficial, too, because you're getting all the stats and all the extra info.
All the time.
But I don't want to force it upon you, okay?
Yeah, okay,
I'm trying to do some reverse psychology right now.
Like when you trick someone into... When you trick your partner into doing some admin, they're like, I'm going to sit down and do some admin right now. You can do it if you like. And then they're like, yeah, I probably should.
I don't think I've ever done that.
Have you not?
No.
It's good. It's not necessarily unhealthy. It's like, you know, hoodwinking them into being productive.
Damn.
Yeah.
You're manipulative.
I only use my powers for good.
Let's take a look at what's happened here. Again, so, look at this. So, Black Esports moved down towards the south. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of this.
Shall I tell you what I was thinking when I suggested they might do it?
Yes.
It's easier to go back north than it is to get into the hills once teams have filled that area.
Okay, but let's take a look at what's happened here. Black Esports has moved down to the south, and now they have been backfilled. You cannot return.
I would still,
what has been backfilled.
I would still argue that it is easier to get back through that. If a team has taken a position on those Ladriera hills, it's really, really tough to push up to that from the north. Whereas it's a lot easier to careen down the hill into Montenuevo. I'm trying to sort of give them a little bit of a little bit of an option.
Yeah, like devil's advocate.
Yeah, a little bit. And sure, they do give ground, but they do gain oversight onto a lot of territory and a lot of potential to pick up eliminations towards the south edge.
Yeah. Again, I just see that mistake made by KZE earlier on Erangel over on Sosnovka.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of it. Like, for instance, here, it's strange to me that so many teams are confirming position this early. Like, we're in stage 1. Like, this is not where you want to confirm positions, because you're having massive traffic jam here, which is going to make rotating out horribly. I think typically what you'd have is you have a lot more teams trying to congregate around the edges to positions where it's going to be more simple to rotate through. They're digging graves right now.
Yeah, no, we're opposite side of the map from Graveyard, and they're still doing it.
We're digging graves right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be difficult for everybody, and it is exacerbated, of course, by this west side shift, by the fact that we're essentially playing with the same amount of terrain as a stage 2 already on this Miramar. So perhaps that's what's contributed to these teams' decisions to try and come into conflict a little bit earlier. Maybe not into conflict, but rather into these central locations. We're looking right now on our screens at Upgrade versus Akicyber. This is on one of those spokes, those linear hilltops, those ridge lines that sit around Ladriera. This is a pretty nasty shift, all things considered. It has Montenuevo in, it has Ladriera in. It's really not confirmed to either side yet, though. Luckily, it does move away from that west edge, which is the one saving grace of this circle shift.
Yeah, because that west edge is just unplayable zone. It's the cliff face. So getting away from there means that we do have playable space now over towards that eastern side. And already there is some huge fighting going on down towards the south.
Akicyber and Upgrade still back and forth. This conversation along the hilltop is going the way of Upgrade, actually, as Akicyber have to recoalesce. Action may be chiming in here as admin. The fearsome force descends the hill. Doesn't take too much of a tumble there and gets to the buildings unscathed. Action can't pull up and go for this fight. They know they don't have the numbers right now. With Akicyber moving fast, they're actually going to have to turn this one around. A fight has broken out. But this is going to be easy for Zvezda to handle that one. Unfortunately, not so lucky for his teammate as their vehicle goes up in smoke. It's actually his own doing. Sets the vehicle on fire, plays too close to it, and force goes down. This should be resable, but what can people do with the time available to them now? Can Action come in for a refrag? Could Upgrade actually move in to the oversight and find something they were looking for?
Yeah, Upgrade up towards that top side. Shots coming from the side as well towards Zvezda. Another player goes down for Akicyber. It's looking pretty bad right now. Again, tough rotate from that south side. Again, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, they've left no one on the map any room to rotate. And I think for Akicyber, yeah, fair enough. You're trying to move through here. But I just don't think you expect all the teams to be here. Like, there's so much of the circle that is just unplayed right now, which is playable, by the way.
It's a little bit unoccupied. But teams are still just trying to find any sliver of this they can. It is quite unfortunate.
Well, they're not.
Sorry?
Well, they're not.
Well, that's true. They've already found a lot of them.
Look at this.
Oh yeah, no.
Look at this.
Sorry, they're all trying to find a sliver. It just happens to be the same sliver.
Yes.
Which is the unfortunate part of it.
I can respect that.
For Akicyber, that was unfortunate that Force went down to the vehicle explosion. If they didn't have to stop, look for that res, they were out of there. They were through with 3 and maybe playing on this position that admin has right now. But this guy is nutso, right? He can go sicko mode out of the drop of a hat.
Yeah. This sounds like I'm an Akicyber fanboy. Honestly, that's my only issue. Is that, like, I really don't feel like that rotates too much of their fault, because I just don't think you expect there to be literally 6 teams either side. And I feel very vindicated now as we head back up to Monte Nuevo. And we could have just sat there the whole time.
That is true. Black Esports potentially going to have that opportunity to prove me right. And the fact that it may be more easy to head back up north than it would be to push south had it gone that way, though. But it is definitely treacherous for them. You're right. It's going to be difficult no matter which way they choose.
It's just tragic.
It's sad. It's just sad. I weep for them.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that point, especially it's the last game of the day as well.
Oh, yeah.
So players are mentally boomed at this point because they were only having 2 days to go at this. Some teams have really suffered as they've gone through. I mean, take Action, for instance.
I will.
So yeah, overall, I think you're getting to the end of the day and you're trying your best to eke out as many points as possible. And I think that sort of leads us to this kind of play style where everyone's looking for the center as much as possible instead of taking some of the more easy options.
Ooh. Fortunate pickup there. E2K losing another one. Nepex able to find 2 Elim points for it. And Rex looks for more. Love the next to go, and only one player now stands for them in 6th place to end the day. I mean, it's not terrible, but there are teams behind them who will very happily push them aside. You've got Nepex, who are now only 2 points behind. You've got KZE, who are only 1 point behind. And it's very easy to slip out of these top 7. And this is something that happens in these shorter form tournaments, right? These bubble positions, especially being towards the middle of the tables, become so volatile. You are talking 1, 2, 3 points in it. Even then, it can be a tiebreaker as well. And it is so unfortunate to find yourself in that scenario. It's why every single point matters. It's why every single snake play matters. Why every single flush matters in those late game scenarios as well.
Yeah, and it's partly because GOAT, as well as Aki Cyber and Fenerbahce, are all very consistent compared to the rest of the lobby at the moment. It has created like a very but noticeable point vacuum towards the top side, which leaves teams just leapfrogging over one another. I mean, between 7th place and 14th, what is that? 7 points differential.
Very small. Very small.
Up to 6th to 14th is just 8-point differential. Yeah,
can't take it for
super
granted.
volatile.
Upgrade now, trying to push past R8. Both of these teams looking for a little bit of a resurgence into this one. Upgrade have the numbers, but R8 have the high ground and the inside track towards the zone. 3 players alive. Prestige and Marth on the high ground. And forward operator SK-Turn is dispatched. First goes down. No answer yet. The nade doesn't quite get the job done. Stage 3, the zone's ticking hard. He should be able to get that first aid off, though, in time. And now the rest of the players moving on up. Buzz and Molodoy on the sidelines force them away. Prestige and Marth read this. They're in the vehicles. They turn tail.
Oh, Molodoy dropping down to the blue as well. Does suck, that one. Buzz trying to move through will find himself inside the zone. Just about, but no meds. Nothing to be spoke of. 5 eliminations for Upgrade, though. I think this is probably the best they've done in the first 15 minutes of a match. GOAT finding some good shots for themselves. That's over towards K21. You know, extracting them from that location, just on the western ridge, could be a great position for GOAT to play.
Do have that chance. A lot of teams pushing in towards Monte Nuevo now. We've got K21, we've got GOAT as well on that southeast side. Fenerbahce on the north. Ikerd as well waiting in the wings. Dope springboard on that southeast quadrant. Try and find it as well. So a lot of emphasis on the north side here. Teams packing their way in. And R8 now trying to move into the west side, that high ground that sits over Monte Nuevo towards Ladriera. It also come into contest, but it's Exotics who have got control of it for now.
Taking a look at a lot of these teams. I think there's going to be some waiting involved here just for the next circle. I think everyone's posted up in a fairly defensible position at this point in time. There's not too many teams outside the circle, and realistically, at this stage of the game, you are just looking for a home. I don't mind R8's position over towards this western side. Keeps them out of danger, keeps them out of sight, and right now there is technically a 50% chance that this circle does head over their way. I think most teams would hate for that to happen because it is super open ground. And not only that, they would have to break this wall that sits in front of them. It is just slashed through the middle of the circle at the moment.
The 721 aggressors, we're on board with them now. They did lose a player just then to Black Esports on that southeast side, trying to make their way through. For Elims, for the 721 aggressors, they are one of the teams that is looking to start to get safer and safer as time goes on. In 4th place right now, but they're on the south border of this. And do not really have a clear route forwards. Every option that they have is occupied. So they might have to just take the fight or bite their time and see if someone takes care of themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if a team wants to take care of themselves, sure. That's fantastic. I think most teams would.
You know, like leave an edge position, try and take a fight themselves. You know, not rather than just like
nade themselves.
I fancy the. I need the loot. Let's stop playing right now.
Let's take care of ourselves.
Not that situation. I'm talking about like if Black Esports, for instance, rotated and tried to fight Dope, and then they both sort of went down low. That would be an option if they had taken care of that for the 721 aggressors.
All right, let's take care of ourselves.
Try and move through. That's right.
As should you all take care of yourselves. That's a
self-care.
That's important. A PMA.
Hell yeah.
That's a big PMA and a PSA.
Hydration.
At the same time.
Hydration, self-care, achievement.
Yeah.
Results? I don't know.
Profit.
Absolutely. Money. That's what it's all about, Blank, in the end.
Question mark, question mark, question mark. At the moment, right now, we do centralize over towards Ladriera Hills on the western side. R8 tucked away in a small little compound for themselves. I always like that position. Very little amount of influence you have from there, but it certainly keeps you safe, which is always nice. Black Esports cut out towards the southeast side. I do think they're going to struggle. You know?
I think they're going to win.
Okay.
I mean, no, they are going to have a pretty rough time of it, but I would argue that a lot of these teams on the north side are going to take care of one another in a pretty unsalubrious fashion as they try and exit from Monte Nuevo. The main threat for me right now is Exotic's position, right up the top of that hill with Oversight over KZE, who hold that low ground area, and that is that 1-2 punch, right? That high ground, low ground, 2-team hold that you're going to really struggle against.
Yeah, so it's Black Esports Aussie going down there.
But not out.
As Bitmus going to go for the res. I imagine KZE might have an angle at some point. 721 aggressors actually sending more down there. I think that's pretty bold of them.
Ooh, in the meantime, GOAT quality able to find some openers on towards Fenerbahce. This is this north side that we were talking about just then. Leaving from Monte Nuevo. And GOAT quality trying to keep their players alive here. But they have lost one and another is knocked. Ego on the back. Should be Rezable, is actually being pulled up right now by his teammates. But K21, look at this oversight from the high ground. It's just so difficult to run out against this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very, very difficult position to push out towards. Goran's going to be dropping nades from up on high and penalty underneath. The hottest of spots, and they just get double tags on them. The fact they didn't go down is insane.
Shots from the off angle. Do need to be careful. R8 still in the game. And they find a player on iCurd out on the north field. And R8's compound actually a primo location, Blank. I think that any team in Monte Nuevo would love to have it right now.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it really is not influential, but it is safe. It's a place of safety that you can move out towards later on, playing up towards where Exotics is currently at.
Upgrade making the dash to it, potentially.
Yeah.
Diverted by a hail of fire coming from the south.
721 aggressor, they actually moved over towards T2K, where Rules is currently playing. Left Black Esports to their devices down on that south side. We're almost into stage 6 now. And we'll see where this one heads. I'm feeling quite central on this circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling hard southeast.
All right.
Goat, ooh, still in the scrap with Fenerbahce and still with the oversight from K21. This is just so difficult to make work. It's just Merciless remaining, and that Molotov may just spread, tickle his ankles. Low HP, but gets the first aid off, so will not be going down here. But that nade, though, that opens up a lot of opportunity to push on in. However, Ego is still down, and Goat with 2 can't afford to take another. That's what they were looking for, though. The nade in through the window, and they make it work.
Yeah, really good job from Goat. Circle,
dead center.
Quite central so far.
What was that?
Exotics, though. I actually do quite like Exotics' position, but they do have a lot of teams around them who would also really love to have where they're currently playing. Black Esports definitely cut out on this south side. I think that was T2K. T2K. Out from the game, their rules going down. They do remain in the top 7, though, which is surprising at 30 points, but there's still KZE as well as iCurd, potentially even Dope to go between it. Yet the scoreline is so minuscule between these teams. Black Esports moving up over towards the 7-21 aggressors. It's a 2v4, but Lord Cedric is down on the back line.
And all 3 of their players are forwards. Looks like they want to put more emphasis onto getting that flush, making sure they earn that point for themselves. And every point does matter. That's what we were saying earlier. 3 players from Black Esports, though, overwhelmed Jonix's position. Spidey, though, with an answer. However, there is Retribution. Up the top of the hill, though, it's Exotics still chiming into this fight. The smoke out towards them. They've lost Lord Cedric, but they can still pull Symphony back to his feet.
Yeah, they can definitely get him back here, but you'd imagine Exotics wanting to take shots. Unfortunately for them, upgrades also getting some good shots over towards that north side. Ozzy sends a grenade towards them. I mean, I think Ozzy's doing a fantastic job here. I actually really respect this. He is sending audience over the top just to keep them at bay, but Symphony's not pulled back up again. Daniel down.
Ooh, and that is just the backline pulling out the stops now. Steps into the fire in the Molotov, unaware that it's burning him down. Could be another knock. They need to pull Symphony back up now, but Upgrade move in for a third party on the engagement. A nade around the side, and Buzz is trying to ruin the day for Black Esports. They have to hold this sideline and the top ground as well. There's a lovely nade from Ozzy, who's been devastating with them. Boss moves on in. Ruzen looks for the shot, but can't quite find it. Has the shotgun in tow, and that will be good for another. A nade from on the back lines, and Molodoi looks to put a stopper on the Black Esports swell around the edge. Ramses as well, and they are putting so much pressure towards Black, but in the meantime, Exotic are back up to 3. They have invested so much to the south, they've forgotten about the top of the mountain.
Bitmus at 12k just annihilates him.
Oh, no.
Drops down. What is that? Molodoi now has to pick up the slack, but is that before Exotic gets down towards this location? Ozzy bites into him like a bat.
Drawing blood. Time and time again, Molodoi left alone. Buzz isolated, cannot be picked up here. The drop down, Molodoi wants it, but he's not going to be allowed to. Denied entry to the fight. And Zeptimus doing a lot of work for the squad in that engagement, pulling Symphony back up time and time again, isolating the fight, suppressing towards Exotics on the top ground, and it is so important for them to keep their feet here. 8 elims.
Yeah, a lot of elims found. Again, this probably does go from bad to worse, though. For Black Esports, I think they get themselves out of the fire into the frying pan. But overall, very successful engagement from them. I like how they played over on the previous Miramar, and now I'm liking how they're playing on this Miramar. Overall, Black Esports was impressive on this map.
I'm telling you, they remain an uncooked goose. I'm liking it. I'm feeling it for Black Esports. I think they've got a chance here. However outside it might be.
Okay.
And if I'm being realistic, it is K21 who should be able to take this one home. Unless Exotics can take control of that position the Master's in right now. iCurd trying to find these openers, but will fall to the blue zone and the pressure from everyone on the off angles. K21 investing a lot to sweep out this north side, but I think they need to.
Yeah, it kind of depends. For K21, like, in this circle in particular, the way I would look at it is K21, yeah, fantastic spot, but if the circle does go east, then equally KZE as well as Dope have that chance. So I would put it as a 3-way at this point in time. But weird things have happened on Miramar. I've seen a lot of global championships in my time.
That is true. We have seen the wildest things. Will it be a repeat of that, or are we going to return to sanity? Pretam with the hold now. Needs Roy to come up big for him, but Pretam goes first, and this is going to be an easy flush to pick up. Roy actually just completely backs off the angle. Daniel tries to face off against it, but they aren't really going to be able to do too much here. 3 players from Black Esports survive. They're sweeping through, continuing their progress now. Don't really have to worry too much about the low ground, but KZE may be able to find an angle if they're being sneaky. Up around the corner, Daniel remaining quiet, but is spotted. One goes down, but there is the answer. Roy now the last to stand. The nade for Roy, no, it's just a Molotov, and Zeptimus has to push up to the rock. He'll be more than happy to do it. And that's the nade they were looking for. Black still stay standing, and with 11 elims, they have got a position to take control of this circle.
Yeah, I mean, they just went through them like a ghost through a wall. I'm not sure exactly what just happened there, because Black Esports has just made a mockery of both Upgrade and Exotics. In both situations where it should have been fairly simple to hold them out, it's 2 missteps. Fair play to Black Esports, though, man. Fair play to
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I'm feeling it for Black Esports. I don't know why, I don't know how, but they have found their feet here in this Miramar. 11 eliminations, and now they're looking to take control of the high ground in a central spot, whilst the teams below fight it out between themselves. Dope in a scrap with KZE. 1 player down on either side, but the res comes through for Dope. They can control the sidelines, but it's an immediate re-knock, and Shadow slices through them like a scythe through wheat, and will be the last player to stand for them, but needs to go for a little bit more. Baby Tang has the backup, and we'll be able to finally put that fight to rest. But in the meantime, Black Esports swell over and into the fight. K21 have an answer.
It is a weird game. I'll put it that way. I mean, Dope's kind of concluded exactly what they can down towards that eastern side. Now it's realistically up against K21 and Black Esports. Black Esports having that advantage of being on the high ground, but there is equally some significant grenades that could come through. I am worried, though, because Ozzy has picked himself up a P90.
It's pretty gross. K21 have to worry about Dope, though, because they have to push up the hill. The question is, which team do they go for? And I think that may be the difference maker in this circle. Not to mention Marth, a third-party off angle. Huge potential to backstab onto K21 here.
Baby Tank walking up. Just up against this hilltop now. Him and Guliang and Payne. That is a slow crawl, but they've made it. Mambe also in the back line. Could follow. Last circle. With Black Esports position, yeah, it's looking pretty good, but a lot of this is vaultable.
Half down. Picked up by Zeptimus. That's 12 elims now found. 3rd place guaranteed. Nade over. Zeptimus found for the opener. Ozzy not in a position to get a refrag here, and this may be go time for K21. Push up and over. Try and allow Dope to backfill you. Maybe you want to leave someone behind. You do have the numbers to do it. But Master leads the charge. In the meantime, the drop down, no, they send Shroud out wide. They're taking 2 fights at the same time, and Master falls as well as Shroud. Dope losing 1 in the meantime. Marco's gone down as well, and Black Esports may have the opening that they were looking for. Goran now the last for K21. It's Groza versus P90. The bull pops back and forth, but it's Ozzy to win, and it's Black Esports atop the hill. Dope are flagging. They've got 4 players alive, but can they mount the top?
What is K21 doing? What are these guys doing? Sending nades at one another. I'm kind of lost for words at this point in time.
It's all right, because I've got it from here. The rightest guy in this lobby. Black Esports on for a chicken dinner. Potentially, but Dope have the numbers. The center of the circle favors the high ground here, and you can see Black are playing back from it right now. They're controlling the access to it rather than the ground itself. That is important because Dope have to push up, have to go for some dangerous vaults. These smokes are dissipating, not right now, but fairly soon. Ozzy and Symphony isolating these fights towards the low ground here. Zeptimus back up, has the shotgun, but a forward position now. Baby Tang with it all to do. Guliang goes down, the off angle, the second pincer. Can they come through with the second wave? It's a 3v2 towards the high ground, and Mambe and Payne have now not got the tempo for it. Black Esports don't need to push out, and they've done so much work in this lobby. There's Payne, Symphony drops down, and a cacophony of bullets ring through the hills of Miramar. Black Esports all the way.
This is one of the fantastic game, by the way, but also one of those situations where I don't think you want to be right about that. Calling them,
but I'm so right about it.
Yeah, but we could come back to the conversation we had about teams taking themselves out. That happened a lot more than I expected it to.
I'm so smug right now.
But again, not in the way you expected, because
No.
teams were literally taking themselves out.
Yeah, absolutely. They kind of, well, specifically K21. What on earth was that? It was really, quite frankly, the worst I've seen that fight play out.
Also exotics.
Yeah.
Also upgrade.
All of these are true.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it's just one of those games where I don't think you want to be right about it. But you were,
Well,
so
too bad, 'cause I am
congratulations.
so right.
No, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I'm very happy for you.
I'm the smartest idiot in this game.
But yes. Yes. I applaud you. I applaud you.
Let's take a look at some of the final moments of this game. I mean, it was very well handled. Once they got into this position, I would say that Black Esports played the end quite well. Against some misplays.
Again, they went for a pincer.
You're so angry.
I'm not. I'm just saying they went
You're
for a
fuming.
They went for a pincer, and then one of the pincers just got left behind. So it just kind of nudged them from the high ground. There was no grip.
You know what? Let's go to some saner minds, because we have been left completely exhausted by that comedy of errors. We saw one earlier. That was even further. Let's head over to the analyst desk.
Thank you, Black Mustache, and thank you, the smartest idiot in the game, as you mentioned yourself there, John.
Either way, what a match, especially for Black Esports. Am I seeing that right? 2 players with over 1K damage?
Ring the bell.
Ding, 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 bell of 1,000 damage times 2 for these two. I mean, honestly.
It's her thing.
It's my thing, yeah. Well, is it? Is it my, yeah, I'll say it's my thing. It's definitely my
Collage is like, you stole that.
Hey! He's gonna be in your DMs in a minute, yeah. No, but it was really, really nice to have that, like, really high percentage. So you got that those other two teammates doing a lot of support work, a lot of those angles, a lot of that damage, but they're really leaving it open for those top 2 to just frag out and be the meat of the team.
I mean, Lord Cedric not even playing at that point because he got eliminated. Just go, keep doing that, guys. It's
Sure.
totally working out.
Yeah.
And had a really good time supporting the team. But Zeptimos is going to be the MVP of this game then. And really, it's just a fragging duo of Aussie and then Zeptimos able to just carve their way through the mountains of Miramar over to the southern western side. And realistically, looking at how Black have played, not only in this game, but throughout the entirety of today, they're just so efficient at finding the path of least resistance in every single situation. No matter if they're not in the circle, and the circle is horrible, moving thousands of meters away from them. They're like, we found a way, and they have the fragging power to back those plays.
They really do, and you know what I noticed is that they really use their time. They take their time with this sort of stuff. They use these wide rapid rotations around that edge side, and they really focus in on that scouting, and they take their time. And often they don't even move until the zone actually pushes them into the next phase, right? So it is something where it's like, if you take your time and you know how to do that effectively, it really, really works.
Yeah, I think that especially they're not only a proactive team, they're a very good reactive team. Because we talked a little bit about that third party from Upgrade. They initially pushed onto Exotics. I think this is a really good push-up. But Upgrade like, oh, this is a great third party opportunity. Exotic moving back, but they're playing checkers. When here, Black are playing 4D bloody chess and have one of the biggest plays, which is we're just going to hug the ridge, stay relatively safe, wait for them to push us. We pick them up one by one every single time. And because of that, we claim the high ground. We claim that final chicken dinner for today.
Max and Tyrell, let's take a step back, because I love what you guys are saying in regards to Black Esports, right? The way that they found a way to work and they just narrowed that down and kept going at it. I feel like one team that's starting to do that a little bit here,
especially the last 2 matches. All right, back-to-back 4th place finishes.
Yes, yes, indeed. I mean, it's something that we were hoping for. And Max is a little stroppy, but I'm going to finish my point before you go. No, it's something that we wanted to see from them, and it's something, like, again, like I mentioned earlier, you want to see teams actually use these last 2 matches to kind of shape their mentality for tomorrow, and so that is really something that you're starting to see R8 really do.
And set themselves up, too, because it is going to be 6 matches. We finished day 1.
Yep.
They need to make sure they go back to that VOD review, Max, because, I mean, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a chance to see it whenever we end up going to the overall. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, it's going to be real tight going into tomorrow. And I'm still looking for more. I wanted to be critical, but we're going to be looking at the match rankings here. 29 points on the board for Black Esports. They are... they're going to be in top 7.
Easy.
That game alone is just like you're pretty much securing a spot in the main event.
They have to really mess up tomorrow.
You want to be critical. We can be critical in regards to Dope because they were using the utility, but they ended up using it against themselves.
Hey, listen, we've all had the bad nade that bounces off the cliff. We've all had that. I ain't going to blame that one on
A knock
them.
is a knock. If it's a teammate or not, I'm like,
True.
I don't get it. Like, when I knock them through an hour games, I'm like, hey, it counts. So I'll take what I can get. Okay, we'll see how it's going to be going. Though, going on forward, we mentioned the team earlier, right? There was Iker, sure they get that win. We wanted to see a follow-up. They only got 1 elimination, 0 placement points. I hope that going into tomorrow we can see just a little bit more of that consistency as you go in the overall rankings.
Go there with the 61 points, and I want you guys to start focusing on this. Remember, it is going to be the top 7 that are going to be moving on towards main event. The top 3, they're starting to create a bit of a buffer there, but everybody else is so close.
If you theorize here and just double the points straight up of our 7th place team, you're looking at about 70 points, right? Yep. 60, 70 points, you're going to be looking good. So if we have that as our expectation for the cutoff point-wise, GOAT should be fine. X-Cyber, with the amount of eliminations they have, they should be looking really comfortable into tomorrow. So 60, 70 points should be what you're aiming for.
And Neptura, one thing is that if they have a good performance like Black Esports just did, look how high up you can just launch yourself on the leaderboard.
Absolutely. I mean, they've gone so far, even dethroning Fenerbahce, right, from that top 3 position. So a really, really good performance. That, honestly, Miramar, I think, is probably their best map. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it again.
But actually, was that like 2/3 of their points in one game out of those like 50+ points they got?
Let me go to the math person, Natura. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
She confirms.
Yes.
I don't know. I might be wrong.
Sure.
It's quick math. Okay.
Quick math, not my thing.
But for this team's right here on the second page, I mean, if you're Action, you're just going to have to go for broke. You're going to need at least back-to-back wins, I feel like.
Honestly, I'm going to go super insane here. They need to hot drop Sandhawk. They need to just go for it. Yeah, they need to go all out completely because 5 points in 6 matches is kind of insane. And yeah, they need to do something quick.
All right, so we got a hot drop.
Yep.
Now, Max, if you're Action, what are you going to be doing?
Just get a good night's sleep. I don't. That might be working out for them. Action right now, nothing happened. I think that you got to just switch up your entire game plan for tomorrow because right now, if you get 5 points again tomorrow, like. Sure, you reach double digits, but you're not going anywhere with that. So change your game plan completely and do that VOD review.
Yeah.
Well, GOAT quality with the performance they had today. Guess what? We do have the MVP of the day. Is none other than FS being able to put up those 12 eliminations and the damage too, 2,394.
That's crazy.
I mean, the reason why he's MVP here, of course, the damage, the knocks, everything adds up pretty nicely for him. But the 22.2 average survival time, that means he's always getting to the late game. They got 2 chicken dinners and I believe a podium finish on top of that, so the survival time is important.
These are the top players. These are the elimination leaders that I wanted to see because even though FS is the MVP, he's not the one leading in regards to just the eliminations. And if we take a look as well, we've been talking about this, Uzbekistan, am I seeing that right? 3 players at the top.
3 Uzbekistan top fraggers out of 5 so far in this first. And again, this lobby, big level up compared to what we had in the tournament yesterday for the Uzbekistan finals qualifiers. So, yeah, I mean, Zveda, admin, of course, but Blank has been, you know, really a fan of throughout the day. And putting, again, Uzbekistan, when it comes to top fraggers, on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you're seeing that same sort of thing repeated here. Of course, Groza is going to be our #1, right? Absolutely. But Don and Ezik as well coming in from Uzbekistan. I mean, that's a huge amount of damage coming in here. But Groza with 3,000 is slightly insane.
197. I mean, the guy, if he can res his teammates, maybe it will be even higher, which he was not doing yesterday, unfortunately. But looking at all the chicken dinners, of course, we talked about GOAT getting 2 wins. Could have been a 3rd.
Could have been a 3rd.
Otherwise, we are looking also at KZE Underage and Iker Esports. We know now, Neptura, they can get wins, but we mentioned it. Consistency is the name of the game. Out of those wins, what else can you bring to the table heading into tomorrow's match?
Talk about consistency. I'm seeing here a team, especially on the day summary for today, GOAT quality, being able to get those chicken dinners. 2, it wasn't back-to-back, but it is consistency that they're currently showing.
It is indeed, but the other thing I'm also seeing here, 7, is that we've only had double-digit elims for the first and the second games, and 19 is a huge thing. I mean, they must be feeling so good right now. When you're coming into that second day, you're looking pretty darn good anyway, and then you get that win is very, very nice for them.
I feel like for some of this team, especially here towards the end, they kind of gave themselves a bit of a release. Pressure off your shoulders with the performances. I mean, we just saw it right there too with Black Esports at the end, Max.
I feel like we have some teams getting very comfortable in this lobby, especially with yesterday's matches. Like, okay, we're in the zone, we're just going to play our own game plan. It was clearly successful so far. If you had a good day today, keep it up tomorrow, and top 7 should definitely be in the cards for you.
I can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow. Everything is so close. We just got a chance to see that Under Oval. Just a quick reminder, the 7WG, Neptura, and the great Maxman. I know it doesn't say that there, but it should. Ooh. You know what? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe we'll switch it for tomorrow. Yeah. Make sure you guys tune in for the day 2 of the 2025 PMGO Uzbekistan Prelims. But before we let you go, we're going to be sending it over to Barney.
And with that, day 1 of the PUBG Mobile Global Open Prelims has come to an end. Just 6 matches remain until we find our final 7 teams that will round out that main event leaderboard. So that does mean that they still have a chance. That's those teams that had a slower start today. They do still have a chance, but that means tomorrow they'll have to come out swinging.
Qadrli kibersport ishqibozlari, bugungi kun albatta saralash bosqichlarini bir pog'ona yuqorilab, albatta qiziqarli bahslarga bizni shohid qilgan guruhlarning barchasiga minnatdorchilik izhor etamiz. PUBG Mobile Global Open'ning ertangi kunida 6 ta xaritida birgalikda jangchilarni mana shunday shijoatiga guvoh bo'lishimiz mumkin va jadvalni to'ldiradigan 6 ta emas 7 ta jamoani siz bilan birgalikda aniqlaymiz. Barcha ishtirokchilarga esa ertangi kunda shijoatga to'la omadlar yor bo'lishini tilaymiz.
Once again, thank you so much for tuning in and supporting all of your favorite teams. It really does mean a lot, and continue to share everything across social media platforms. And I do have to say, thank you so much to all the hard work so far from production, from the casters, and from all of the analysts. Keep doing what you're doing and keep up the hard work. But for now, we're going to see you back here tomorrow, same place, same time, to see how the prelims come to an end. See you then.
Ertaga esa barcha sevimli jamoalaringizga sizning ovozingiz va qo'llab-quvvatlashingiz juda muhim. Ertaga shu vaqtda yana siz bilan birgalikda bog'lanamiz. Hozircha esa xayr deymiz. Omon bo'ling.